Hi, I'm Alena, and this is Conversations with Alena, where we explore people, their moments of divine awareness, and where these moments lead us in our growth. Also, we'll cover some concepts which can cause you to open your mind and start to discover. First, let's cover some quick dates. If you happen to live somewhere around the Midwest, I am giving a 2-hour workshop in Graybill, Indiana at the Catapatry Shop, and it'll also be a book signing. You'll learn some tools to help make your life better, happier, purpose-filled, and get you started. Also, on June 1st, I will be hosting a webinar. That will be for everyone who wants to listen, so look for that. I'll be telling you more as that comes closer, but that will be on June 1st. Now, let's get started. I have an awesome guest for us today. Her name is Jelayne Miles. To tell you a little bit about her, Jelayne began her pursuit in the arts in theater, studying with the legendary Stella Adler. And she was a member of New York's The Great Frankel Theater. Later on, she stepped into the family business. Now, her mom and dad, you'll find this out in the interview, I'll give you a little preview. Her mom and dad were big people in the civil rights movement. They were activists. They helped to move civil rights along. And when she got involved, she served as director of the law office of William M. Kunstler, and as a lead aide and fundraiser to the former U.S. Attorney General Ramsey Clark. Later on, and actually I want to skip right to now, she now has started 11B Productions Company. It's an entertainment company focused on the development, production, and distribution of film works. And this is where she's putting all her energies, and I'm very excited to see where this goes. Her favorite quote is, it happens to be one of mine too, "What lies in front of us and what lies behind us are but tiny matters compared to what lies within us." And one other thing I want to say about Jelayne. Jelayne is a good friend. I have to say she always opens her arms to all of life and to people. She is such a warm person. And when she smiles, she lights up the room. And with that, here's Jelayne Miles. Hi everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Alena. And as you know, this was previously named Aha Moments, but now we've changed it to Conversations with Alena. And today I have Jelayne Miles as our guest. She is an awesome person. First, I want to read her quote. "What lies in front of us and what lies behind us are but tiny matters compared to what lies within us." This is from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it's one of my favorite quotes too, actually. And let me tell you a little bit about Jelayne. She began her pursuit of the arts in theater, studying with the legendary Stella Adler, and a member of New York, the Frankel Theater. And then, let me see here, she has also stepped into a family business. Jelayne, you have done so much so far with your life. It's amazing. And she made a difference in world affairs and landed positions with two of the most social justice, she worked with social justice figures of her time. She served as a director of the law office of William M. Is that Kunstler?
Kunstler.
Thank you.
M. Kunstler.
Thank you. And as a lead aide and fundraiser to the former U.S. Attorney General Ramsey. That's fantastic.
Ramsey Clark.
Yeah, Ramsey Clark. And then I want to jump a little bit. She also was encouraging the success of emerging Black business owners. She was director for Ethnic Expressions, formerly the country's largest of African American art. Oh my gosh, how wonderful!
It's
Between
actually a director of film and video for them.
you
Uh,
were. Oh, it doesn't say. Oh, that's fantastic. Wow. So she's been a lot into the arts, and now she start. Um, my gosh, my eyes are playing tricks. 11B Productions. Is that how you say it? 11B or
yes.
11B? Everybody has a. Okay.
Alexi.
Okay, and it's an entertainment company focused on development, production, and distribution of film works. Their mission is to tell stories that are traditionally satisfying while also incorporating technical and narrative innovations into the project. All right. So, and how long has 11B Productions been working? How long have you been working on this project? How far along are you in it? What is it doing?
We're currently producing our first feature film. We've done some shorts. We've assisted in a lot of other productions with other people, and we're currently producing our first feature film.
How fantastic. That's very cool. Well, all right. I want to get going on you. I mean, this is your bio, but I mean really with you. And I would like to talk about your quote and what it means, why you chose it, what has it done for your life, when do you look at it, what does it help you achieve or think about?
Um, Thanks, Alena, and I want to say thank you for having me
Oh,
today.
yes, of course, of course.
Um, the reason that this is my favorite quote is because I think one of the biggest challenges for me has been being in the present,
Ah,
being in the moment, being with myself, and but fully with myself. And when we get to one of my aha moments, that will be woven into this story. But I think that when we look at what lies behind us and what lies in front of us, so many of us think that that's where our future is, and that's
yes,
where our story is,
yes.
and that's where our potential is in
Mm-hmm.
what either has happened or will happen. And we start writing our own narratives based on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of my greatest discoveries has been that within me is the potential and the possibility to create the life of my dreams, anything that I want, anything
Yes,
that I see. And
yes,
within me, I am, everyone knows the story of the wave and the ocean, that,
yes,
that the ocean is in the wave.
right.
And
Ah, I love that.
what is within me is this ocean of life. And so
That's
often
right.
I think we feel focused on our separateness. And when
Yes.
I'm focused on what is within me, I'm thinking of my part in the whole more. So
Ah, awesome. I love that. And
that's why.
and a lot of times when we think ahead, it's mostly in worry and doubt. I mean, if we really start thinking ahead all the time. And so when we stop that and we do think about the present time and just be thankful for what we have in this present moment and have faith in the future. Now,
Yes.
yeah, I want to go into your aha moment and then I know some of the questions I want to ask you, but I really want to get started on that aha moment. So I would like you to think back to aha moments that have affected you the most or that you found the biggest change or what they mean to you. And I would love everybody to hear your story.
Okay. Well, I have a couple of them.
Cool.
And one is when I realized that my mom, I had been in, my sister I come from a family of alcoholics, or my sister was an alcoholic, and I
Yeah.
was in a program for that, a 12-step program around
Right.
that,
Right.
and which was transforming my life in all kinds of ways. And there was a day that came when somebody in this program, they had people give talks at the beginning of the meetings, and one person was talking about their parent, um,
Okay.
and how their parent had been an alcoholic, and they were telling their story. And in that moment, I got that that had been the story of my mom,
Wow.
a lot of that. And
Wow.
so many things started to sort of fall into place for me in terms of understanding um, why I saw some things and why I experienced different aspects of life the way I did.
Right, of
Um,
course. Of course.
and I went and talked to my sister about it.
Mm-hmm.
We had never talked about that in my family, about my mom, you know?
Right, right. It was kept hush
And,
hush.
and we had never talked about it. And I honestly did not consciously know. I really
Right,
didn't.
of course. To you, it was the norm.
It was normal. And my mother
Yeah.
was a very highly functioning human being that did
Right.
amazing things, and she was an extraordinary person. So it wasn't
Fantastic.
the typical profile that you would think of, that somebody with my mom, it wasn't alcohol, it was prescription drugs.
Right.
But um, but when I talked to my sister was like, "Well, duh, Jelayne." You know, it was like she
Uh,
knew, and it was totally obvious to her. And but
wow.
the aha moment wasn't about my mom, although that was part of it. The aha moment was that life happens to me through my own filter.
Yes.
That was the
Wow.
aha moment. That my sister
That's
could be
great.
saying, "Duh, duh,
Yeah.
we were in the same house with the same woman." I had one understanding that I lived my life out of, and my
Right.
sister had a completely different one.
Isn't that just fascinating? And
Yes.
that's a wonderful aha moment. I mean, to see that it is how you, I always say it's like a camera, and how we see ourselves is how we preview everything around us. So you
Right.
must have saw yourself differently than your sister to see a different view, which is very often.
Yes, exactly. But I would say that it is perhaps the most powerful
Oh yeah.
aha
Oh yeah.
or revelation that I ever had,
Sure.
and it changed the trajectory of my life going forward. And the
Sure.
cool thing was, I wasn't even looking for it. I literally stumbled on it.
Right. Isn't
That
that
aha moment.
fascinating? Yeah. Well, you must have been ready for it to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but just people, some people go through their whole lives without that particular aha. They don't understand that relationship and how everything gets filtered through us. So I can just imagine how big a change that brought you forward in your life.
Yeah.
Because that's what people search for. That's what so many people don't understand and want to understand. They think everything outside affects them instead of they affect everything that happens on the outside and how they view it. That's
Yes.
humongous. Humongous.
Exactly. Thank you.
So where did it lead you? How did it change things?
How did it change things? Well, it started me on a whole journey,
I bet it
which
did.
a whole journey that started. Well, first of all, I was in this program. I had been doing some work on myself.
Right.
That's why I was in that 12-step program in the first place.
Right.
And you know, um, that expression that we move forward in life. Human beings, I think, in large part, are very slow to move forward.
We don't
Uh,
like change. We don't
we
like
don't like
change.
change. We don't.
I know.
And one of my favorite expressions that I often remind myself of is that we move forward when the fire behind us is hotter than the fire, or when that is our perception of it. And that's what happened to me when I went into that 12-step program. The
Ah,
fire behind me was higher than the fire in front of me. So I was working on myself a lot. I was seeking something, some kind of peace and understanding of
yes.
things. But I didn't know what I was seeking. I was just seeking. And
Right, right.
I was doing basically what I was told. If you do this, if you explore that. And in that program, there were sponsors.
Okay.
And mine was a minister. And previously, and I just want to clarify something in my bio. When you say I stepped into the family business, in my bio, the family business is in quotes. My parents were activists, and that was our family business. And
Oh,
so that's why I put that
that's
in.
cool though. That's very cool.
They were both very active civil rights activists. My mother was a union organizer, and they spent their. I come from an interracial family,
Yes.
and at a time when that wasn't the common thing as it is today, that
Right.
was a very uncommon thing.
Yeah, I bet it was.
And in fact, their marriage was illegal at that time in many states
Oh, you're kidding.
when I was born. No,
I
in
didn't
the
even realize that.
it and so um, so my parents were kind of very very amazing people. I feel that were, and their family business was civil rights and equality for people and making the world
Awesome.
a better place as they saw it.
How
So
awesome. Yeah.
so when I say I stepped into the family business, I mean it a little bit tongue in cheek.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but where that led me, um,
Gosh.
where that led me after that revelation about my mom and that life is happening through me, not to me,
Right.
it led me into Unity Church,
Okay.
a Unity Church, which had at the time in New York City, it was headed by a very famous guy named Eric Butterworth, and he writes a lot. There are a lot of books written by him, but there
Okay.
was a young kind of up and coming maverick um, minister in that
I love
church,
Maverick.
and
Okay.
his name was Paul Tanat, is still Paul.
Oh.
and, and he talked about new thought, was the first really talked about what is called new thought, and introduced me to ideas about quantum physics and thoughts becoming things and
Wow.
crystallizing our thoughts and having them manifest by training our brain to focus where we wanted it to go,
Yes. Wow.
our minds to do that.
That
And
is a Maverick.
where that ended up leading me to, it was sort of connecting dots, really.
Yeah.
If, in fact, life is happening through my perception,
Yes.
and if, in fact, I can train my mind not to be the runaway train that it is
Yes.
most of the time,
Well, yeah.
that means I can have an experience of life that is of my design.
Exactly. Wow.
So that's where that led me into the pursuit of that. And with
Look
all
at that.
this stuff that I do in the arts that I love, and I've always loved it, and now finally stepping into my own production company, where that led me to from there was becoming a person of wealth, of running my own businesses, of creating a lot of abundance for myself and people around me, people
Right.
in my life.
Right.
But most importantly, more than the production company, more than the film, more than any of that, and I love that. My greatest love, the thing I enjoy, and okay, the finding the love of my life, I have to say that.
Yeah. You got to put that in there somewhere.
But the most important thing to me in all of that, including my son and my husband and my family, what I love the most and pursue the most vigorously is staying present to the fact that I am part of a bigger thing than what my senses perceive.
Ah,
And it
talk
takes
a
a
little
lot
more.
of practice, I think, on
It
this
does.
planet and the world that confronts us on a daily basis. It's not an intellectual
No,
exercise.
no, it's not. Yes.
The first part of it is like the acknowledgement of it.
Right.
Okay, but that's not the same. Reading it in a book or knowing it is not the same as being able to hold on to the intrinsic belief of it so that you live from that place.
Right. Right. And isn't that the truth?
And
Um,
my life is better with everybody and everything when I do it. So,
oh, doesn't it? Well,
yeah.
I mean, talk a little bit more about, well, I'm trying to think. I've been listening to Eckhart Tolle now, okay? And
I,
oh, I just love him. And I didn't realize this, but I was doing it myself without even realizing what I was doing. But that quieting down, and just listening to yourself, and you get underneath all that chaos and craziness or whatever's going on in your life, and then all of a sudden you can feel you. You can
yes,
feel that place.
yes,
And then you that's where you start to feel the awesome connecting, the how big you truly are, and how you are really creating. This is you inside. Everything out there is a creation you can create. You can everything filters through you and how you see it and how you master it and what you make of it. And I don't know, feeling that bigness, that connection of all, how has that affected you in everything you do? That feeling one with everything. How have you lived your life through making that a reality, from going from in here what you know is so true inside yourself, and you feel that vast, I don't know, expansion. And then
yeah.
when you go on the street, what do you do that feeds that?
Well, that's a great question, Alena.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
that's an awesome question. Um, I mean, it's so important because
It is.
I really feel that so many people, including myself sometimes, and I want to just clarify one thing. You said, how do I stay feeling like I'm part of the all and the universe and all that?
Yes, yes.
That is my greatest pursuit. That's
Ah,
my
good.
greatest pursuit. I don't walk around every day feeling like I'm part of the universe. And for example, before we were going to do this interview, even, I mean, something as simple, and you're a friend of mine, and
Yeah.
this is a loving space.
Yes.
But even that, my heart was going a little pitter patter, pitter patter. And if I was feeling at one with the universe all the time, there would never be that feeling,
Well,
you know. So
maybe. Yeah,
so
yeah.
no, I live in pursuit of that.
Okay.
And it's my life has improved and grown and expanded exponentially as a result of the pursuit of it. And
Right.
I grow in it all the time. When I first started this work, I didn't have any sense of that. Really,
Right.
it was a
Right.
line on a page. Like I remember it was a slogan of that 12-step program I was in, said, keep the focus on yourself. Keep the focus on yourself. That was one of the
Okay.
slogans.
Okay.
And I would read it 100 times a day. And I
Okay.
had no idea what that really meant.
No.
You know, yes, I'll keep the focus on myself, but you know what? If the world would do what I wanted it to do, everything would, you know,
Isn't that the
that
truth?
that's how I that's how I internalized that. And then it was another aha moment, when one day I got, oh, that's what they mean by keep the focus on yourself. That means me, that me, Jelayne. So, what I do, I have a morning practice
Okay.
that I do.
Okay.
And that usually consists of three things. It's writing. I write 3 pages of longhand. Um, I'm going to say every morning. When I'm doing my morning
Fantastic.
practice,
Uh
I
huh.
write, I write 3 pages of longhand every morning. And
Wow.
the reason to do that, I don't look at punctuation. I don't look at grammar. It's not a creative writing exercise.
Right. Okay.
It is what Julia Cameron, who wrote a book called The Artist's Way,
The artist way.
um,
Yes. Yes.
um, calls Brain Drain.
Oh,
And
cool.
I really came to know myself. I came to know myself through doing morning pages. It is the most extraordinary gift that you can give yourself. I was a professor at Wagner College in the arts department, in the theater department, for a couple of years. And I assigned morning pages to my class. And I still get letters. That was 15 years ago.
Wow.
And I still get letters from students from my students then sometimes telling me that it changed their life doing that. And in fact, one student, she was newly from Israel at the time. She was a child star. She was in the acting class, my acting class. She was a sort of child star in Israel. And she had come to the United States to go to college. She later wrote to me that she was thinking of committing suicide.
Oh my
She
gosh.
was so unhappy when she first came to the United States. And it was through my class and the morning pages exercise that saved her life. She went back to Israel later. I hadn't heard from her. She tracked me down on Facebook after 15 years or something.
That's amazing.
And she did a play called Morning Pages that she dedicated to me and Julia Cameron.
Oh.
And she's become a very successful choreographer and actress. So.
Well, I like this. Now, I have never heard of morning pages. Okay, this is new.
It's a fabulous exercise.
Do you explain a little bit more in case listeners want to try it? Because I'm going to try it. I know I am.
First of all, the book to pick up is called The Artist's Way.
The Artist's Way. And who's it by?
Julia Cameron.
Julia Cameron. Does everybody have that? I've got that. Okay.
In fact, the name Cameron comes from, she used to be married to, I believe it was James Cameron.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, Martin Scorsese. Sorry.
Oh. Okay.
But anyway, I took the class with her. I studied with Julia herself, and I class with her at the Open Center in New York many, many years ago. But it is 12 weeks of, you read a chapter at the beginning, and then there are exercises that you do over a period of a week. But every day you do morning pages. And it is for people that want to be artists. It's for lawyers. It's for anybody that wants to get more related to the creative side of themselves. But what morning pages did for me is I got to know myself in morning pages in a way that I had never known.
All the good, all the bad, all the wonderful.
The bad and the ugly. And also you start to see patterns of behavior. You know, what you start to see is, gee, this is 2015, and I'm still complaining about the thing that I was complaining about in 2013.
Wow.
In almost the same language. Maybe I want to take a look at that.
Yes.
And it's an amazing thing to do for yourself. And you do it before you get out of bed, before you have your coffee, before you do any of that. The first thing you do before the filter kicks in.
Yes. So you're completely open, and you don't go into a meditation or anything. This is just you just start writing when you get up.
It sounds like, oh gee, I wish I didn't have to go to work today. What am I going to do? Oh gosh, I got to water the plants. And you start. That's what it looks like. It looks like this very unrelated in the beginning stream of, and then and you write 3 pages, because after about the first page, suddenly you're onto something. Suddenly.
Wow.
You're like, I would love to, in my case, I would love to have a production company. I had the life of my dreams. I would love to have and I came to know those dreams because people typically don't dream from what they really desire. They dream from the place of what they think they can get.
Oh, that too, yes.
They limit it by what they think is possible.
Yes, they do.
Which is not really a dream.
You know, you're very right about that, because I work with people on the side, I coach, and the one thing that I find is that people have to learn all over again how to daydream,
Yeah.
how to just daydream. I mean, just sit under a tree and daydream about the possibilities. But because, like you said, they always think from this area of limitation,
Yeah.
like these walls are up, they have a hard time breaking through that wall and really just letting it go, and seeing what happens. So I can see how these morning pages, because it's really, you're doing, now correct me if I'm wrong, because you do it and I'm just learning, but you start just, the thought pattern just goes. It's like automatic thought. You're just writing your
Consciousness.
stream
Pure-
of consciousness.
Pure stream of consciousness.
And then
Yeah.
things will start popping out. I think this is fantastic.
It's a great thing to do. And then the other thing that she has you do in there is an artist date. These are kind of the cornerstones of the program. And an artist date is once a week for a minimum, I think it's 1 hour. You take yourself out on a date to do and you go to the movies, you go to
Oh, yes.
do anything but other than watch TV or,
right.
but take yourself on a date. Just you. You can't bring anyone with you.
Cool.
Just you.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like the truest gift to yourself.
It's the truest gift to yourself. And what happens is things start to pop up. She talks about it. She likens it to, it's sort of like the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. He thinks he's polishing cars.
Right.
But what he's doing is he's learning these moves.
Yeah.
That when he's challenged, it's right there available for him because he's been waxing on and waxing off.
Right.
It's sort of like that. You shine it here, you polish here, and the shine comes there.
Right.
It's quite amazing to watch it. And it's a 12-week program that you can do either in a group or with her, along with the book.
I definitely am going to look into this because this sounds very fascinating.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
I want to experience it. I want to see what I end up writing. Well, now, because you've done so much acting, and you've been in the theater, and now you have your own production company, I wanted to ask you now, and I know you know this philosophy. It's before you say you set a goal, and you're visualizing, and you've got that goal right out there, but some people have trouble. Visualization usually helps if they can get themselves really doing it, but the concept of acting the part, Can you talk a little bit about that, the benefits? Like when you go in to do the theater and you're doing a part that you're learning how to relate to, do you find yourself doing that in real life to get used to it, or what does it do? Do you see what I'm trying to connect? That's not a very well formulated question, but do you see where I'm going?
It is. It's great. It's a perfect question, actually. Actually, I want to just raise Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor used to have a program called The Power to Have It All.
Ooh, I've never heard that one.
I still have it.
Oh, wow.
It's the first time I'd ever heard of him. I had no idea who he was. I wasn't in New Thought. I just bought it off the television, off an infomercial. And it's so old, it was cassette tapes.
Oh, wow.
And a VCR,
Oh,
VH.
yeah, I remember.
And, but what he talks about in that is how Cary Grant, the actor, the famous actor.
Yeah, I love Cary Grant, yes.
Was a total creation of Cary Grant. His name wasn't Cary Grant. He started talking in a certain way and walking in a certain way, and he created the persona that he stepped into of Cary Grant.
Wow.
And somehow, I think when Bob Proctor was first getting into this work, he had heard that story. And he created the persona of Bob Proctor.
Very cool.
He had an idea of how he wanted to look and be, and I'll relate it to myself now. it is sort of like acting a part. And Bob Proctor also often references Stella Adler
Yes, he
and
does. Yeah.
method acting.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and and that really is about embodying the character. And when you really get into Stanislavski, who was the founder of method acting,
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
um,
Wow.
and he has a famous book called Building a Character.
Ah.
And you build that character from the ground up with their past, their present, where they're going. You much of this never even shows up in the play or in the text, but you have this inner world of the character that you live from. And it's all about where you're, I think in manifestation, as you were asking,
Right.
it's all about where you're living from.
Right.
And
Right.
what I wanted to say about that is that I used to have this about writing, not writing morning pages, but creative writing, writing screenplays and things like that. I've written a couple, not
Yeah.
very many, but but I always wanted to have written, but I
Yeah.
never wanted to write.
Okay. Well.
Written. And
Uh-huh.
I think that that's how a lot of people are about their goals.
I do too.
They want to have done it.
Yes.
But really, the person, one of the reasons that you start to act like the person that's doing it
Right.
is because if you were living from the consciousness of the person that has those things, you'd have those things.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
You know, and that's how it is for me as I attain my goals. I see a goal for myself. I'll publicly state it here on a podcast.
There you go.
A goal for myself is for my production company and for me as a producer to be a significant leading player in the independent film industry
Awesome.
and to make films that really make a difference in people's lives, that are mass films, not highbrow, not into films for the
Right.
masses that
Right.
explore challenging topics.
Oh, awesome.
That's
There's definitely a need, you know?
exactly. I am not yet
Yet.
in this incarnation, right at this moment,
Right.
a recognized significant player in the independent film world. And I'm okay to say that
Right.
because I know that I haven't grown into that consciousness yet.
Right.
If I had, it would be happening.
Right.
And what I've learned is every time I grow and I do this work and I take actions, a lot of it is taking actions,
Yes.
and a lot of it is teaching yourself, writing, reading, meditating, all of this stuff. And as you do that, what happens is you get to the point where you expand too big from the pot that to live in the pot that you are in.
Right. Ah.
The pot that you are in being the life that you currently have, the life that I currently have. As I grow, I get too big for the life. And my life, the world, the universe clothes me with a life around me that is a match for who I'm being.
Right. Oh my gosh. It is so extremely well said. No, that's exactly true. And when you are ready, and that's why they always say, when you are ready, it will appear.
Exactly.
Meaning your goals, the teachers, everything will come.
It does. And it does come. It is appearing incrementally as I go. I mean, if I compare where I am now to even a year ago, it's almost unrecognizable.
I know, me too. Me too.
I mean, almost unrecognizable. And Mary Morrissey has an amazing saying. I studied with her for a long time. This is what it looks like on the way to my dream.
Ooh, I like that.
This is what it looks like. I am realizing my dream. This is how it looks.
This
When
is
I used to smoke years ago. When I quit smoking, I would quit smoking for the morning, and by the afternoon, I was smoking.
Yeah, yeah.
But, and then I wouldn't, and I'd skip a day.
Okay.
And then suddenly it was 4 days.
Right.
And so I was quitting smoking, not just when I quit for good, I was quitting smoking the whole time.
You were. You were on a journey to quit. You were on
Exactly.
your way.
Exactly.
That's very true. So when people have a goal, they want it right away, of course, but we have to remember, it's that journey, and it's growing and growing. And as you grow and expand, as Jelayne said, then the bigger you get. The soul is for always more expression and expansion. So you just keep growing and you keep growing, but you also keep the persistence. Correct, Jelayne? You
Absolutely.
keep those daily. Yeah, you keep going at it daily. You keep going along. Before you know, things just start to come. It comes to gel. And your dream, you wake up one morning and there it is. It's a reality.
Exactly. It's like going to the gym.
Which I can't really say too much about because I hate going to the gym.
But haven't you ever gone to the gym and you do one really good workout and you go, gee, I don't see anything yet?
Yes.
Haven't you ever
yeah.
done that?
Yes.
You know?
I do, yes. And it's true. And so then you think, well, I don't see anything. I'm not going. That's a very good point. I can explain. I want you to explain that point to everybody. So here they are working and working and working, and they think they're growing, but they don't see anything yet.
Yeah. Well, also, I will say, and I will guarantee, it is impossible, absolutely impossible to do this work and not have stuff show up.
Yes.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And some people, just like people get selective amnesia about what they eat when they're on a diet.
I love that.
You know what I mean? They go, I'm not losing weight, but they really forget that they had those Twinkies.
Yeah.
Or that they're grabbing food at the, they
That's
forget.
True. Yeah.
If you do it, it works.
If
There's nothing special about me and my life from when I started exploring these ideas. And it took me a while before I was doing morning pages and going to seminars and studying with Mary Marcy and Bob Proctor. That didn't happen overnight.
Right.
That was a process of me starting to believe more and more about. First, I was reading Ernest Holmes, if you know who he is.
Yes, I do. Yes.
And picking up literature, The Science of Getting Rich, and just and thinking this is really interesting, and let me try this. But I would say, just as a quick thing, and it gets more complicated than this, if you do morning pages, and if you read from a book like The Science of Getting Rich, or any of Bob Proctor's books, or any of Mary Marcy's books, or any Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes is a little more difficult because he wrote it another time and his writing is a little bit erudite. But if you
Raymond Holloway also. Raymond Holloway, laws of following the law.
Read, write, and declare. And when you declare in the present, I am wealthy, I am happy, I am self-expressed, I am, in my case, I am a successful producer.
Right.
I am a successful film producer. And you declare that, and you look in the mirror when you do it. Look at yourself in the mirror when you do it. And also, there's a really weird exercise called 10 times more excited which is,
what is that?
you do things physically. Tony Robbins talks about getting your physical state to where you're energetically, Bob Proctor talks about
Vibration.
Laser focus and vibration and frequency.
Right.
And if I'm going, oh, I'm so happy. Oh, I'm really, but you have to generate it.
Yes, you do.
Generate it. And I'm so happy. That's 10 times more exciting.
It
It's
is.
volume, it's big, it's like that. I'm so happy. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am a successful independent film producer.
Ah,
Isn't that fantastic, Alena? Isn't it
yes.
fantastic that people come to me to be advised about how I did it, how I did such an amazing thing in the film industry? Isn't that great?
It's
That's
fantastic. Yes.
that's 10 times more
Well,
exciting.
because you feel it inside.
You're
Yeah.
generating yourself, and you
Yeah.
can't talk like that at that kind of volume, at that kind of intensity, and not have it impact you physically. The pictures in your head, you're speaking the words, you're getting a mental picture
Right.
because we think in pictures,
We do.
you're generating at a certain frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You're
and
speeding up. You're
you're
speeding up the whole thing happening.
right, exactly. So there's no way you can do that every day.
Well,
Um,
not then that's one thing people have to realize. Not every day are you going to feel like you can get up and do things. We all have off days.
right.
I think the most important thing is not to sabotage all the work you've done. Like sometimes I know my lull time in the day is usually like 3 to 4, 3 to 4:30 in the afternoon. I know that if I'm ever going to be negative, if I'm ever going to have any doubts about anything, that's the time.
Yeah.
So I allow myself, knowing that, because I know myself well enough, I just think that time I'm not going to take any of my thoughts very seriously. you know?
Yes, yes.
And instead, I'm going to fill that time. I've just started doing this. I fill that time. That's the time I sit down and I read. I love As a Man Thinketh, okay, James Allen. Or Working with the Law, Raymond Holloway. I will start reading authors to counteract all that negativity, but I don't have to do a lot of thinking. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, yes. That's a great tip, actually. That is
Thank you.
really a tip. And I want to say something. I just want to acknowledge something about you, Alena.
Oh.
You are one of the most positive people I have ever met in my life.
Really? Thank you.
It comes through in your emails. It
Oh my
comes
gosh.
through in your tone of voice on the phone.
Oh.
You are welcoming the world.
Oh, I
You
do
really
feel.
are.
Thank
And
you.
and that comes through so
Really?
brilliantly and so loud and clear in the way that you move through the world.
Oh, you are such a sweetheart.
Totally something
Thank you.
to emulate and to
Oh,
I'm
wow. That means a lot to me. Well, because I do feel, well, I feel very connected to everyone. That's one thing I have kept, I always feel that connection. And so I just want to make even in an email or anything I leave, I always want to leave somebody with feeling good. Because if they feel good, it reflects back to me. I feel good.
yeah,
Because we're
yeah,
all connected.
we are. We absolutely
It's
are.
very important. It's very important. So, Jelayne, now, is there anything else you want to add? Where can we, when will when will this production company start putting things out? What should we be watching for?
You should be watching for a film called Stone Butch Blues.
Okay.
Stone Butch Blues.
I will definitely,
And
yeah.
that's, I would say, roughly a year from now.
Wow. How very cool. This is exciting. I
Yeah.
can say I knew you when. Before we leave, I know that listeners are out there and they say, they say, oh, that's all fine and dandy for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've not had that experience. I don't know how to, I want to be president, or I would really love to act on the stage, or but that's all pipe dreams. I mean, and look at you. You have done so much in your life. From being acting on the stage, studying with Stella Adler, that alone is everybody's goal who wants to be an actress or actor. But then going and working with your parents, helping to change the world, which I think is so, so awesome. then going on to doing your own things with a production company and working with your husband on all the things he does. I mean, you have done it. Tell them a little bit. You're the perfect person to talk to them.
Well, the the first thing I would invite anybody that's listening to do, that's having doubts about this, you know, like what was said to me, try it. Give it a try. Really give it the try. You know, people think, you know, that expression that a lot of your friends will tell you, be realistic.
Oh, I don't like that.
Basically, be realistic means believe in doom and gloom.
Yes.
That's what that's believe that the world is hard and that life is hard and then you die. That's being realistic.
Sounds fun.
And I would invite you to explore the idea that that is superstition.
Yes.
You know, life is hard and then you die.
Right.
You can make it true.
Yes, you can.
You can make that true,
Yes, you can.
but that's not an objective reality.
No.
And I would invite you to take a year, 1 year, you know, however old you are. If you're old enough to even be watching this and have an interest in this, you're probably at least 16 years old.
Right, right.
So you've been here at least 16 years. Maybe you've been here 50 years or
Right.
80 years.
That's right.
And you've given whatever you're doing a try. So
Right.
try this for 1 year of showing up, reading from some of the books. And I don't know if on your website you probably have a bibliography of some sort or something, or
Yes.
maybe you do, of reading something that nurtures your mind, writing 3 pages of longhand every day that's just a stream of consciousness, and declaring from the place you want to be as if it's already happened.
Cool.
Reading, writing, declaring. And give your dreams a chance, like they're little children.
Yes. Feed them and watch them grow.
Feed them and watch them grow. And I guarantee you, there's no way you can do that for a year and be in the same spot and have nothing change in your life. It's just impossible.
Now, everyone, I hope you heard that wonderful challenge. Because Jelayne Miles is giving you a challenge, and I love it. And I'm echoing that challenge. So this year, if you're not happy with your life, give it a shot. What do you have to lose? You know, what do you have to lose? And you have everything to gain. So give it a year. Start to do your personal study and feed your dreams like they're children. Make them grow. I love it. Jelayne, it's awesome. Awesome, awesome. It has been such a pleasure to have you on this
Thank you,
podcast.
Alena. Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Now, if people want to learn more about your production company or a little bit more about you, where can they find you?
11B Productions, that's 11bproductions.com.
Okay, perfect. All right then. And everyone, you probably know, if you've been listening to all of these podcasts, you know how to get hold of me, but it is alenachapman.com. And that is the website, and you can find other podcasts there or other resources. So I thank you so very much. I hope that you take this challenge and let it change your world. Thank you. Make it an awesome day, everyone. Bye-bye. You can learn more about me by visiting alenachapman.com or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Thank you.